Today's video, I want to go ahead and do a quick, I guess you could call it a review. We've got the Troybilt TS2044 XP with a tilling attachment that goes with it that we bought when we initially purchased our property out here. And this Stihl FS91R, and we got the blade attachment when we got it, along with some other smaller stuff. But the reason we bought the Stihl edger is because the Troybilt, which I thought at the time when I purchased, and I talked to the salesperson where we got it from, that this would do the job that we would need to have it do out here on the property. It's supposed to be a heavy-duty edger, string trimmer, and it had all of the attachments that could go with it. But after getting it, I'd say after about a month of using the edger, I couldn't start it without going through a whole bunch of stuff. And then when I did start it, I had to have it on full choke in order for it to keep running, which meant that it was always running full throttle. The Stihl, which, I mean, we haven't had but for, I don't know, a few months here, I've not had any problems with it. Starts up right away. The blade attachment works and is interchangeable very quickly and easily. I've already cut down most of the area that I needed to cut down by the pond, and was able to do that fairly quickly, luckily, because that's where we thought our issue with predators was coming from, was the pond area. And then we found out the last attack we had actually came from the north end of our chicken run area. It came in from that area. It didn't quite make it back out, and we didn't lose another animal yet, so we were lucky there. But the bobcat that was in the yard was eliminated. I don't believe it was the same one that was coming in, because it was a little smaller than what we had on camera, or at least what I think was smaller. So, but anyhow, back to these string trimmers. The Troybilt, that attachment for the tilling machine, for the tiller, when you put it on, it really wouldn't do hardly anything. I mean, great concept, but you can't till up anything with it here, unless it's something that's loose soil that you're just going to aerate and mix up. Didn't work. So, bad purchase, but what am I going to do? I've still got it. The Stihl, like I said, it's been perfect. I'm able to edge everything I need to edge, and when I put the blade attachment on, it worked perfectly for what I needed it to do. So, we'll go ahead. I've got a little bit more to do down on the pond area in order to get it cleaned up. So, we'll put the Troybilt back in the back of the garage where it's been stored for almost a year and a half now, and go down to the pond and start working again. So we'll be right back. Okay, so I'm going to start by edging the fencing where the grass has grown up after we mowed. I don't know if it'll pick it up very well, but you can see the edger will work just perfectly on that. And then we'll move over to that area there where I haven't done anything with, and we'll start in there. So anyhow, go ahead and set the camera back down and get started. Now I'm using the recommended fuel. I don't know if you can see that. It's the Stihl mixed fuel. It's already pre-mixed. It makes it to where You don't gum up the carburetor so bad. It burns a lot cleaner. I tried using this same fuel in the other edger, but it didn't work. I've had to have that thing in a couple times to a shop to see if they could get it running right. And they'd get it running, but after the first couple times of using it again, it just started bogging down. So I don't see that it's worth really the price of getting it fixed. One of the problems with electric fencing you'll find, if you haven't gotten electric fencing, you got to edge it all the time. You got to keep the grass down off of it, because it really affects how hard it hits if you don't. So and a string trimmer will do a lot of damage if you're not careful.
edgers. We don't know if we've gotten all the bobcats. I think there's a family. This edger, I'm able to actually control the speed. It doesn't tear this fence up as easily as the other one I have. So I'll show you that now. One pull. Okay, before the camera goes dead, I'll take you over and let's go ahead. I'm going to be burning some of this today. Cut through that like it was nothing. What I'm having problems with is there's some thorn bushes in here that they're really bad, and the vines and everything are stuck and wrapped around all the other trees and limbs and bush that are in here. I don't want to take everything out because I do want to give the chickens somewhere they can possibly run to once we open this area back up. So that's about all I'm going to take out of here. I'm going to rake this stuff out. This is of course what I did last time. That was all done. All that back there is growing back up again, but it's on the side of the pond banks, so I can't really get in there. Like I said, I think I said it in the last video, we're looking into getting some fish that will help eliminate this overgrowth and get rid of the algae, because that's algae in there, and it's not from the chicken area. It's not a runoff of the chickens and the geese and all that. The ducks won't go in there because I think we have a snapping turtle or two in there. Right here, I don't know if you can see it. Try to zoom in. There's a fence post right ahead. The bobcat got hung up in there, snapped that fence post. I put a couple of other holders up there to keep the fence from sagging, but it got hung up in there, and that's where I was able to get it. And the reason I put this fence up is basically to block off this area and make whatever was coming in have to jump more than once to get in and out. So last night we added our newest chicks. They're 9 weeks old yesterday, and they're doing great. They're right there with the dominant rooster and their mama. There goes Goofy there trying to come at me, warning me, whatever. One of our 3 chicks that hatched out didn't make it. It passed away a couple days ago. We don't know what happened. We had to pull it out of the coop, bring it inside. It was not growing. It wasn't putting on any weight. Its crop wasn't full. It wasn't, not like it wasn't eating. It just, we don't know if maybe the other 2 chicks kept it from eating a lot, but we brought it in and we nursed her for about, I don't know, a week or so, and to no avail. She yeah, she didn't make it, so I held her as she took her last few breaths. And that's one of those things that you don't really think of when you're getting animals, I guess, or at least we didn't think that far ahead. I don't know, maybe most people do, but you know, it's like you know there's going to be death involved, whether it's you taking their life or some predator getting them, or you know, something. But at the same time, it's a difficult thing. When you put a lot into it, and you're vested in these animals, and you know, for us it was we're losing hens by the day with this predator that was coming in and out. So we're trying to repopulate the flock, and then you have one die, and you're hoping that the others make it. You're doing everything you can to make sure that they don't die off because of your neglect, but then they die anyhow. So I don't know, maybe it's just me, but definitely something not fun to deal with. So I didn't want the thing to die on its own, so I held it until it passed on, and then I didn't want to bury it because I didn't want anything digging it up, so we gave it a burn burial, and she went away. So anyhow, I think that's it for today. I'm about whipped. It's in the heat of the day. Today is Labor Day, so I guess I'm laboring, but I don't want to labor that hard. And all this growth here, I'm going to get to at some point, I guess. We'll get to it, but anyhow.